Imagine a nation wiping the slate clean from all its national debt, freeing itself from financial constraints, and becoming the first country in Africa to achieve debt freedom. This is the remarkable feat that Mali has accomplished. In a groundbreaking move, Mali has successfully cleared $332 million of foreign and domestic debt, taking a courageous step toward economic sovereignty and reducing reliance on foreign lenders. But what are the implications of this for Mali, the African continent, and the global financial landscape? Stay with us as we explore this monumental shift in global economics. And if you're new here, subscribe to Mwaki Insights for in-depth analysis of the world's most significant developments. Mali's journey to debt freedom involved eliminating $332 million in foreign and domestic debt. This debt was a complex mix, not owed to a single entity. Mali's debt portfolio included loans from international financial institutions, bilateral agreements with countries, and domestic borrowing through government bonds. Each dollar repaid marked a significant step away from the influence of global lenders and a move toward complete economic self-reliance. Most African nations rely heavily on loans from sources like the IMF, the World Bank, and foreign governments to fund their development projects. For Mali, paying off its debt signals a commitment to self-funded growth without the constraints of foreign aid. Mali's approach could serve as a model for other nations to reassess their debt structures and consider the extent to which these loans hinder true sovereignty. Navigating Mali's economic landscape has been fraught with challenges. The country has a long history of political instability, compounded by ongoing security threats from extremist groups and the severe impacts of climate change on agriculture. These factors have often stifled economic growth. Mali's debt was a double-edged sword, necessary for development but a heavy burden. Loans were used to fill critical gaps in infrastructure, security, and social services. However, each borrowed dollar came with interest and conditions that restricted Mali's financial autonomy. To address its debt, Mali leveraged its natural resources, particularly its gold reserves. By focusing on resource management and renegotiating extraction agreements, the country was able to generate the necessary funds to achieve debt freedom. Now that Mali is debt-free, what's next? Without the burden of interest payments, Mali can channel funds into vital domestic sectors like infrastructure, education, healthcare, and renewable energy. This strategic reallocation of resources is an investment in long-term self-reliance and sustainable development. By emphasizing resource nationalism, Mali has increased control over its mineral wealth, particularly gold, creating a stable revenue stream. To sustain this economic freedom, Mali is diversifying its economy. Expanding the agriculture sector, promoting ecotourism, and investing in renewable energy sources like solar power will help Mali build a resilient, multifaceted economy. This holistic approach ensures that Mali is less dependent on any single resource, paving the way for a more stable and prosperous future. Clearing debt is one thing, staying debt-free is another. Mali still faces significant hurdles, from regional instability to economic vulnerabilities. The Sahel region, where Mali is located, continues to be a hotbed of security threats and violent extremism. These factors strain Mali's resources and threaten its ability to maintain economic stability. Then there's the risk of backlash from international creditors. Some financial institutions and countries might see Mali's decision to reject further debt as a threat to the status quo. As a result, Mali could face challenges in attracting international investment and trade partnerships. However, by establishing a strong foundation in self-reliance and aligning with other emerging markets like China and Russia, Mali can find alternative partnerships that support its independent path. Mali's success will depend on navigating these geopolitical and economic challenges, making resilience and adaptability critical factors in its journey forward. Mali's achievement of debt-free status could trigger significant changes across the African continent. With over $700 billion in external debt, sub-Saharan Africa faces a heavy financial burden that hampers development and growth. Mali's strategic move might encourage other nations to reassess their reliance on foreign loans and explore innovative financing solutions. Should other countries follow Mali's lead, we could see a wave of financial autonomy sweeping across Africa, altering the dynamics with international creditors. For nations like Burkina Faso, Niger, and members of the Sahel Alliance, Mali's decision highlights the critical link between economic sovereignty and political independence. By moving away from neo-colonial financial practices, these countries can establish partnerships grounded in mutual respect and shared benefits. Mali's journey could serve as a blueprint for African nations aiming to escape the traditional lender-borrower paradigm, ushering in a new era of self-reliance and economic empowerment. Mali, a founding member of the Sahel Alliance, collaborates closely with Burkina Faso and Niger to enhance regional security and economic resilience. These nations are collectively redefining their relationships with global powers, forging new alliances beyond traditional Western partnerships. Mali's recent achievement of becoming debt-free paves the way for equitable partnerships grounded in mutual respect and economic collaboration. Notably, China and Russia have emerged as key partners for Mali and other African nations seeking alternatives to Western influence. Both countries are significantly investing in Africa through infrastructure development, trade agreements, and defense cooperation. By aligning with these global players, Mali enhances its negotiating power, moving from a position of dependency to one of strength. The Sahel Alliance, with Mali's debt-free status, stands poised to become a formidable advocate for African sovereignty, potentially reshaping the continent's global relations and asserting a new era of African autonomy. Mali's journey towards economic freedom is indeed inspiring, but it comes with significant risks. By turning away from traditional financing from institutions like the IMF and World Bank, Mali may struggle to attract foreign investments. However, this bold move also allows Mali to explore alternative financing methods, such as development-focused investments and resource-based revenue streams, which could yield long-term benefits. Balancing its quest for independence with sustainable growth models, Mali could set a precedent for other African nations aiming to reduce dependency on external debt. This strategy is challenging, but with strong governance and diversified revenue sources, it holds the potential for transformative change. Achieving debt-free status is monumental, but maintaining this freedom presents a greater challenge. Free from the constraints of foreign debt, Mali gains greater control over its fiscal policies, budget allocations, and development agenda. This newfound autonomy could drive significant advancements in infrastructure, healthcare, and education. Long-term success hinges on Mali's ability to attract sustainable investments and establish robust governance practices to avoid future reliance on foreign aid or high-interest loans. By forging partnerships with nations outside the traditional Western sphere, Mali is diversifying its alliances, a strategic move that could enhance its economic resilience. For other African nations, Mali's decision serves as a compelling case study in balancing economic sovereignty with the rewards and risks of global market independence. The world is watching Mali's bold move closely. From the United Nations to the International Monetary Fund, IMF, reactions have been varied and significant. Some global leaders have lauded Mali's efforts, seeing it as a courageous stand against neo-colonial economic dependencies. However, international financial institutions have expressed reservations. Without the safety net of traditional financial assistance, Mali might face isolation from major markets if investors view it as a high-risk economy. Yet, Mali's decision transcends financial implications. It's a powerful political statement. By rejecting the debt cycle and prioritizing self-sufficiency, Mali has taken a stand that resonates deeply with other nations grappling with overwhelming debt. This movement could spark a broader re-evaluation of global debt policies, particularly in developing nations. The global financial community is now at a crossroads, contemplating the balance between financial autonomy and economic integration. Mali's journey to debt freedom is a landmark moment that could reshape Africa's economic landscape. With many African nations grappling with substantial foreign debt, Mali's bold move could ignite a continent-wide push for economic sovereignty. Countries burdened by debt might find a beacon of hope in Mali's story, signaling a transformative shift in how international financial aid and investment are approached. This drive for independence from Western economic structures could foster alternative models, where African nations negotiate on equal terms, emphasizing mutual benefit over dependency. In nations like Ghana, Nigeria, and Kenya, the conversation around financial reform and self-reliance is gaining significant traction. The potential for Africa to break free from the shackles of foreign debt could usher in a new era of partnerships, particularly with countries that prioritize equitable trade relationships, such as China and other emerging markets. Mali's achievement in attaining debt freedom might very well be the catalyst for a broader African sovereignty movement, as nations seek financial strategies that emphasize self-sufficiency and sustainable growth. One fascinating aspect of Mali's journey is its role in the broader movement toward de-dollarization. Across Africa and Asia, numerous countries are actively seeking alternatives to the US dollar for international trade. By freeing itself from IMF loans and dollar-based debt, Mali is signaling a willingness to diversify its currency reserves and pursue bilateral trade agreements that bypass the dollar. This shift away from the dollar could herald a significant transformation in global economic power dynamics. For Mali, aligning with nations advocating de-dollarization presents an opportunity to forge stronger trade partnerships on new terms, potentially boosting economic resilience and growth previously stifled by reliance on foreign currencies. Mali's debt-free status is a crucial step in the global shift toward de-dollarization, encouraging emerging economies to redefine trade practices and fostering a more multipolar economic landscape. For Mali's future generations, achieving debt freedom signifies a transformative milestone. Every dollar previously allocated to debt servicing can now be redirected towards critical investments in education, healthcare, infrastructure, and innovation. This financial liberation allows Mali's youth to flourish in an environment where their well-being and development are prioritized. Additionally, this shift fosters a cultural renaissance, igniting a renewed sense of national pride and self-determination, free from the shadows of colonial debt. Young entrepreneurs, educators, and leaders can now envision a future where Mali stands resilient and self-sufficient, a legacy of empowerment for generations to come. Mali's journey to becoming debt-free transcends mere financial metrics. It represents a redefined national identity where the next generation can thrive unburdened by the constraints of foreign debt. Thank you for joining Mwaki Insights as we delve into Mali's groundbreaking achievement of becoming Africa's first debt-free nation. Mali's courageous move to eliminate its debt and pursue economic sovereignty is more than a financial milestone. It represents a transformative shift that could serve as a beacon for other African nations and beyond. Envision a future where more countries can declare themselves debt-free, prioritizing self-reliance and sustainable development over external financial dependencies. This vision challenges conventional paradigms and opens up new avenues for prosperity and growth. If this video resonated with you and provided valuable insights into the evolving landscape of global finance, please like, share, and subscribe to Mwaki Insights. Together, we'll continue to explore the forces shaping our world and bring you the stories that matter most. Share your thoughts in the comments. Could Mali's debt-free journey set a precedent for other nations to follow?